You're no one. You're just a black hole where a person should be.
If you're hearing our voices, it means it's time for It's This Meets That, the podcast where we watch the worst movies from trailer to end credits, scene by scene. So you don't have to, but maybe you should. I'm Russ.
I'm Jared.
I think someone one time told me that at a bar that you and I walked out of.
Yeah, you're right.
Someone actually...
I think they put a curse on you, actually.
I'm cursed for life. Someone definitely said that to me. Poked me in the chest and was like, there's something dark inside of you.
There's a darkness in you.
I was like, Jared, what just happened? He's like, I don't know, but don't touch me.
You're cursed. Yeah,
you're cursed.
Sure.
You're done, dude.
I mean, shortly after that, we all got fired.
So, not wrong.
Yeah, we're super cursed.
Random guy in the street who did that to me. If you're listening, reach out, would you? Send us an email.
Yeah, street man.
Street man who was not at the bar we were at and just
outside the silhouette.
2 a.m.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Why would you do that to someone? I curse you thinner. All right, so we're back. Part 2 of our breakdown of Dustandin.
Yeah.
Dustandin. Hit me where it hurts. What a weird tagline. What a weird catchphrase.
Yeah. Yep. I don't love it.
So where did we leave off? We left off rehab. Paula is starting to take over Candy's life. She filled in for rehab, and we're 3 weeks later now. She's out. She's back.
Apparently, she's getting out of 3 months of rehab in 3 weeks because she convinced the ladies with the clipboards that
that's all you gotta do.
On track.
Yeah. Just no to all those people going to rehab. Just convince the ladies with clipboards that you're good.
That's right.
It's not hard. Just stop.
Yeah.
Or
ITMT safety tip number 146: stay in rehab. Stay in rehab for the whole term, ideally.
Get better. Be better. Yeah. Just be better. So she comes back to the mansion. We're at the mansion, right? And we get the paparazzi in full effect, right?
That's right. They're full Italian at this point.
Hey, paparazzi. Hey, we get you a photo. Come on, take your photo. Huh?
I get your photo, mozzarella.
Hey, what do they? Come on. I just wanted you a photography. So
it's going to go great.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Don't worry about it, Italian listeners. You're fine. You like this. You love it. All right, so then we're in the mansion, and things seem to be okay. And Paula's Candy offers like, hey, you should just stay here at the mansion until things kind of cool off, and then whatever, we'll kind of go over things, right?
And Paula's trying to talk her into doing this role that Ingrid told her about.
Yeah, the
Barbara's
reboot.
Asking for you personally for this reboot.
Right.
And she goes on this whole spiel about how she can't do the film because she has a date with Steve.
Right.
And this is where we get the introduction that she is Kathy Tyler, carpenter.
Steve doesn't know who she really is, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
And then we get a bunch of stuff how Candy doesn't want to return, Kathy here, doesn't want to return to acting. And Paula's like, well, if you don't return to acting, then I'm out of a job. And so it's very selfish kind of behavior here.
Yeah. Dollar signs and billboards, which will come back a couple times, but
which will come back later. And then we get Paula trying to hack into Steve's carpentry account.
Yeah. Wicked funny.
So I got a lot of problems with this.
Yeah. I mean, my first problem with it is the weird music again during this montage, because it's like a montage of it's Candy getting ready like for the date,
right,
while Paula is trying to hack into the account here.
Right. And she's basically going back and forth. So she's logging into Candy's account and looking through the messages, and then also trying to log into Steve's account, like hack into it.
Yeah.
I got so many problems with this login form. I mean, come on. I'm sorry. As a former manager of login forms. Yeah, like come on. The password is never shown. It's it's always hidden.
Yeah, sometimes you can have a little I button there that reveals it.
Sure, but it's not just like blatantly out there. And also the error message when you log in with wrong information, it doesn't just say denied and give you a buzzing noise. Come on.
Yeah, although that is generally good practice, because what you don't want to do security wise is
tell them what they got wrong. Correct. Well, you don't want to say wrong email address or wrong password.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. You don't want to do that. So that's like just general
grow up.
It's killed me.
Movie makers. Yeah. Well, and the passwords are also funny that she tries to, because first she tries the name. She tries Steve Grady as the password, which if you make your password your first and last name, you deserve to have your account hacked. I don't care.
Also, I'll give you some tips here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Start with that.
Yeah. Password
1. and like love or something like that, right?
Yeah. There's a million things. Yeah, like just Google top passwords and be like, oh, I'll just run through these.
Literally, people are stupid when it comes to passwords, and
they don't use their own name. They're not that dumb.
No, they're not that dumb.
Not usually. Yeah. I
hope.
Yeah. So she finds out that Steve's a big shaker furniture guy, and so she tries shakers make me happy with like start with all lowercase. Like she's doing like title case like shakers capital A S M capital M capital H like no one writes this way.
No. If you're gonna have a stupid password like that, no one's doing the extra effort to have capitalized things. You're just gonna do.
So she does shakers make me hard, and then shakers give me wood, which that's the ticket.
It's all a lot of wood jokes.
Yeah, a lot of
wood jokes. All right, and then she gets in though. She gets in, right?
Right.
And she reads all their messages, and then she sends a message from Steve via the account there to Kathy.
Yeah.
AKA Candy. Candy's getting ready. We come to her and she's like, oh, I just got this message. And basically it's just this whole long thing about how Steve is married, he's got kids, didn't mean anything.
Don't found out.
Don't talk to me ever again, right?
Can't see you, speak to you, message you, anything.
And Candy, Kathy, AKA Kathy, is just heartbroken.
This movie has so many like plot failures, but like this is one of them because she's like immediately Kathy's like, or Paula's like, oh sweetie, that's terrible, like you know what might make you feel better is work. Why wouldn't you immediately suspect that it was like that there's some kind of foul play afoot here rather than assuming this person that you've been talking to regularly for a whole year?
right just like, add it like
what?
Yeah.
So anyway, I got a lot of gripes. There's a bunch of moments like that where you're like, how can they not know that she's the stand-in or whatever?
Yeah. And there's also like in this scene too is like one of those moments of like, they're going, it's like this weird mix of like Paula's going for like the comedy side of it. And then, but then Candy's like this kind of really depressed, dark drama. Right. And it's like, it doesn't work. It's like, it's not working. And it's like, you got to go one or the other.
More comedy, please.
We're at the mansion later that night. Candy's passed out, drugs, booze. And Paula answers.
Which, like, why wouldn't you immediately assume that she has overdosed or something? Like, she was wicked depressed. And I don't know. Like, if you were Paula, like, be a little more concerned. If you're riding on Candy to be the, you're got to be the double for this person.
Right.
She's your meal ticket. Like,
there's like a bottle of pills, like, spilled, come on. What's going on?
Jesus. But instead, she just answers the phone because Steve's calling.
And he's like, I'm going to be persistent. I'm going to keep calling every hour, blah, 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 until, and she's like, fine, I'll meet you.
I have to speak with you tonight. Right.
Yes. So they go meet at a bar.
Which she's like wearing sunglasses at night to like try and hide her face. Because apparently, like, this is, again, to the points we made earlier in the fast facts, like she still looks like Drew Barrymore. Like it's not, you're not fooling anyone.
No, you're not.
Oh, that nose prosthetic really, really changes everything. Like what?
So then we meet Steve, Michael Zegen here, Mr. Maisel, and they talk and like it's a little awkward and they've been looking forward to it. And he's like, I'm hoping this is real. And they've shared a bunch of secrets. And she's like, oh, I got a new number, just so you know. So Paula's now single white female pulling it here. She's like, here's my number.
This is like the next. They do it in the next scene. Like this is the scene where it's like. Again, why does no one realize that like this guy has been talking to this person for a year and he does make it. He's like, oh, your voice is different.
Yeah.
But like, that's it. Then he drops it.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like
not the whole personality. And like, like she's asking about his book. Like she doesn't know about it. Cause she's like, he's like, oh, I haven't made progress on my book. And she's like, reading's hard.
Yeah.
Like, I don't read books either. And he's like, what?
We've been talking for a year and our conversations have been completely different. Like, why is this so strange now? So
maddening.
And then we get a driving
a whole hour left of this movie, by the way.
I know. We're not even we're almost a halfway point, but then we get like a highway transition shot, right? And then we cut back to the mansion and Paula shows up with a pizza. Candy's like, where were you? She's like, I got you pizza. By the way, Shaker Furniture is so hot right now. Can I borrow this Shaker magazine? Because she's trying to learn something to impress Steve. Yeah, trying to catch up on what's going on, right? And phone rings. It's Lewis. Kane doesn't give a shit, but Paula's like, hey, you got to answer this, so she does, right? Lewis is like, oh, we got today's show offers. There's a water company, just drink their bottled water on air, whatever, blah.
Yeah.
And then this is where we get the invite into, okay, you can play me. We'll just split the fees, or whatever we get paid.
Yeah.
So
and she's like, yeah, give me half the appearance fee, which again is not going to be that much, but they're like, oh, there's the appearance fee plus the water company is going to pay you low to mid six figures just to drink water on camera. You're like, that's not how any of this works.
And then Candy's like super depressed still. She opens up her phone. She deletes Steve's contact info. Right.
Devastating. Yeah.
And then she's drunk, wasted, blah, blah.
So she agrees to do this interview. And then later on, she's like, I'm not going to do the interview.
Yeah.
Paul's like, the car's here. We got to go.
Yeah. She's like super drunk, wasted, blah, blah. And then this is when Candy's like, yeah, I don't give a shit. Go ahead and do it. You can go do it.
If it's so easy, you do it.
Yeah.
And so she does.
So we're on a Today Show.
Yep. They do a whole bit about how it's great to be back.
Blah,
like
blah,
the
blah.
court case was difficult, but it was also the best thing that ever happened to me. Big turning point in my life that like really made me change. Now I'm totally different.
Yeah, and Paula does a good job of, leaning into the apology tour, right? And she makes it convincing, and everyone's like, oh yeah, and she's wearing a hat and sunglasses, whatever, and they ask her to take it off. She takes that off.
I had face surgery.
Face surgery.
What?
I love when she takes it off and she does a cut to her drinking the water on like.
Yes. And TJ Miller's like, yes, drink the water. Yes.
And then we get a quick cut to Steve, who's at a restaurant or something like that, or a diner, and he sees the interview on TV, right?
Yeah. And he's like, whoa, what?
And then we cut back to the interview, and they're like, we have a special guest here. It's kind of funny. They bring out Jenna Jones from the beginning of the movie.
Ellie Kemper with
an eye patch. I was like,
pretty
funny. This is pretty good.
Yeah, she's like, and we have Janet here. We have Jenna here to talk about the settlement that they made with the lawsuit, the undisclosed amount.
She's like,
we settled for $300,000
to be exact, undisclosed until now. I was like, all right, this is kind of fun.
Yeah. She's like, the eye patch has affected my castability. All I want is you to say sorry. And she's like, you know what? I am sorry.
And she pulls off a very convincing apology.
Yeah. And to everyone who I've let down.
All of her fans. And it's kind of like now that she's got the taste and people are responding to her apology.
She got the hunger.
She got the hunger for fame, right?
Human flesh.
Fame. Fame. Yeah, right. So we're at the Today Show backstage, right? And Lewis is like, hey, we got offers just rolling in left and right. Blah, blah, blah. You can crush it.
Love a redemption story unless it's about TJ Miller.
Yeah. What a funny thing to have him say. And then we get this. Who's this guy? He's like a PR guy. What's he?
Yeah, he like runs a PR agency, I guess.
He's kind of Weasley, and he's just like, man, you gotta set up social media accounts, blah, 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 do this sort of stuff. And it's like, all right, because she wasn't ever on it, blah blah. But he's just Weasley. And TJ Miller's like, yeah, you'll have a bunch of followers immediately on Twitter, blah blah. So. I don't know. And then the Weasel guy here, I'm just gonna call him Weasel guy because he's Weasley. He's like, I'm gonna ride with you to home, whatever.
Bill.
Yeah, he's like trying to sneak in. And this is actually right at the halfway point. So we get back to the mansion, right? We get Candy doing some woodwork. Paul returns, and like the Weasel dude's there with her in the car.
Yeah, Thais had a good call out here. She was like, she with the wig that she's got on or whatever. For she looks a little bit like Susan Sarandon. And I was like, I don't know what Susan Sarandon looks like.
No, not far off. Yeah,
I put me a picture, and I was like, "Oh my god, she does look kind of like Susan Sarandon."
Yeah, that's actually that's
anyway,
it's kind of funny. So then we got like a paparazzi hound in the car, and then I think this is when Paula gets the first taste of the paparazzi, the fame life, right?
Yep, exactly.
And then they're getting snaps of her with the dude in the car. Yeah, and then Steve just shows up out of nowhere, right? A bunch of photos of them getting taken, blah, blah, and she's crazy. And she's like, let's get in your car. And they pull up to the mansion.
Yep.
And then that's when he learns, obviously, she's Candy Black. Or not, but...
No wonder you never invited me over.
Yeah.
And she uses the $signs and billboards line that Candy gave her earlier. And she just like feels a little greasy. And
yeah, a little bit. And then she uses the car. Oh, it's like you bought a Ford Focus, but then you look in her hood and it's a Maserati.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, guess I got to look under the hood first.
She invites him in, but Candy's up. So she's like, oh, let's go to your place, right?
So stupid. She's like, oh, come on in to my place. And he's like, okay. And then she's like, oh, never mind. It's under construction.
Yeah, isn't this sketchy? That's weird.
Don't you know that Candy is there? Like, also, like, what?
Like, what's going on? So they go to Steve's place and they kind of just make out, right?
Yep, exactly. They do the whole sitting on the lap in the chair bit, which is another sign because she's like, what? And he's like, our first phone sex with the Papa Bear chair, which I'm like, they keep saying this and it makes me uncomfortable.
This is again one of those moments where they're trying to inject some humor to it, but it's just like, oh, it's not. I don't know. This is like turning into literally like a single white female situation. Like,
yeah. And she literally just says, forget all that. I want to start over from scratch. You're like, that's not how people work. What do you think? What?
Oh my God. So then we cut to, they do this thing where they, she's watching on her laptop over another talk show, right? And we guess it's a scene from the trailer about the news.
She looks amazing. There's like a glow emanating from her now too, like from within. She's just like seems like a better person. Yeah,
and then Candy's like, oh, she just sends her $250,000.
Yeah, like, well, it's the split for the appearance fees or whatever. Like,
like what?
No,
it's the least I could do. I'm like, all right, $250K done. See ya.
Yeah, sounds amazing.
And then Paula says like, oh, Lewis can set up like an apology tour. We can get more fees. It can get you out of debt. I can stand in for this. We'll split the fees. And Candy's like, all right, I don't give a shit. Fine.
Yeah,
do it.
You like being Candy more than I did, so enjoy.
And then we get to like a little apology montage here, right?
Yeah. Well, it's an apology / woodworking montage.
Yes.
And it's too long, and the music stinks again.
Yeah, so Paula's on the apology tour. Candy's doing woodwork. We get hardcore apology porn from Lewis.
Yeah.
We're at Jimmy Fallon. We get the Star Liberty News, which I think is basically making fun of Fox News.
Yeah.
Is it true you're part of the famous liberal bubble? Graham Norton, more woodwork. Ripon, Seacrest. Girls Do Your Taxes from Jimmy Fallon. That's a safety tip, right?
That's right.
More woodwork. And then Steve's listening while he's doing woodwork.
Yep.
That's it.
Or I thought he was writing his novel while he was listening or something. I think he was like, he's finally unblocked on his writing again because he's got, finally met her. And
whatever.
Well.
And then we're at the Muse Awards here. Muse Awards dinner, right?
Yep.
And then so we get, Barbara shows up, the director from the beginning. She's like, "Hey, offer still stands if you want to do stand-in or cameo on Saddle Up reboot." And she's like, "Hey, stop apologizing and start acting. Get back into it, right?"
Yeah, like any asshole can be a celebrity. You're an actress and a gifted one, so like, get back to work.
Yeah.
She's like, "Oh, okay." There's like kind of a throwaway 2 seconds, which like this is, I know I'm not ameliorating yet, but like cut this part. Like there's like some other young aspiring actress comes over and is like, oh my God, like you're my inspiration, blah, blah, blah. You should really take that role.
That's Lena Dunham.
Oh, that's Lena Dunham. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Which makes sense because like the director, she directed a bunch of episodes of Girls.
Right.
So it's like just calling all the cameos. Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah.
And she's like ends the conversation with, I'm done.
Yeah. As soon as Paula starts talking, she's like, no, I'm done. And just walks away. It's like, kind of funny, but yeah. All right, then we get back to the mansion, right? And then Candy's making a chair.
Paula's complaining about the award show. She's
still down about Steve's situation. Steve texts Paula and is like, I'm coming over. And then Paula tries to get Candy to leave. Candy's like, I'm not going anywhere, right? You can go, if you don't like this deal, you can go back to living in your car. And then Paula's like, I'll make some smoothies and drugs her, basically.
Yeah, that's right.
That's pretty much it, right?
Yep. Stupid music again.
More stupid music. And then we come back to like mansion later, right? So after she drinks the smoothie, all the drugs, it's a shot of Paula.
Like drags the body to like.
she has Candy in a wheelbarrow and just like wheels her out to the
garden shed, basically.
Yeah, the garden shed, whatever, and just dumps her in there.
Yeah. Wild. And then it just cuts to like inside a dinner with Steve. We're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So they're having dinner. And then this is when we get Steve comes clean. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm sorry, I've been lying.
Because she's like, well, I'm sorry I lied to you the other day about not whatever. And he's like, oh, I lied to you too. My name's not Steve, it's Larry. And I'm not from New York. I'm from Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Yeah.
And then he like, it's way too elaborate, like the whole spiel. He's like, well, me and my guy Jerry, we're doing Habitat for Humanity down in New Orleans after Katrina. And, I got a little too drunk because it's New Orleans. And then I was like peeing outside, unbeknownst to me, on a statue. And like, sure enough, it was the Holocaust memorial. And
it's worse. Like, it gets worse.
Yeah. Then she's looking now at a picture because she's like, Larry Cooper, just Google it. You can find pictures of it. And she's like, oh my God, you're pissing on a child, a sculpture of a child, and doing a Nazi salute. I'm not doing a Nazi salute. I'm just leaning on the.
I leaned back. My hand was up.
So he is famously, apparently, Larry the Nazi who pissed on the Holocaust baby is his nickname now. Which is outrageous, like not something I expected to be in this movie.
No, kind of funny, but oh my God,
it's kind of funny, but also like
so ridiculous and like weird. Out of place. Yeah. And then and he's like, from now on, total honesty, and Paula's like, okay.
Exactly. Well, and he's like, yeah, Pleasant Hill, like we'll do that. And she's like, oh right, Pleasantville. And he's like, what? And then he's like, yeah, we'll be in the middle of nowhere. We'll do our furniture shop. And she's like, I don't want to be in the middle of nowhere. I have almost 4 million Twitter followers. Don't you understand? And he's like, what? Like why hasn't he said anything like this whole time? Like it's so frustrating.
I've been talking to you for a year, and this is not the same. This is not the same thing, right? It's like,
yes. A completely different person. As I say, then there's a commotion afoot when Candy's throwing up in the bathroom. Apparently, she has escaped the garden shed.
She's just vomiting.
Yeah.
Paula goes and checks on her, and Steve comes out. He comes back and he's like, "You sick?" And she's like, and just throws him out. Like, you gotta go.
Yeah, I puked everywhere. You gotta go. You have to leave. And he's like, what? And so then Candy comes out and starts yelling about, why am I in my garden shed locked up like Guantanamo? And you're like, what?
By the way, if you're gonna drug an addict, make sure you up the dosage.
Yeah, which dangerous advice, not a safety tip.
That's not a safety tip.
Yeah. And she's like, basically, they're like, she's thinking it's like some kind of like groupie kind of thing.
And this is so Candy's like, who is here? What's going on? Right.
Why wouldn't you just tell me you had a date? And she's like, well, I tried to give you a hint to leave.
You're getting groupie cock, something like this, whatever. And then this really kind of takes this kind of dark turn. Yeah. But it still feels like they didn't. I feel like I wish they kind of either leaned all the way into it, because then they just kind of wipe it away later on. It's like, well, this doesn't. So then she's like, let me see your phone, right? And she's like, oh, they have a little tug of war. It's the scene from the trailer, right? And then like Paula hits Candy over the head with a bottle, and I was like, oh, it's getting really dark now. Yeah. And then they're fighting and they're wrestling, and then Candy gets thrown out of her own house, Paula throws her out and then calls the cops, and then it's like, hey, there's a homeless woman at my house, blah, 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 who's like,
she had surgery. She's a weirdo who had surgery to look like me. And during this conversation too, this is when Candy is basically like, you're not like, you're nothing without me anyway. Like, you're not just a leech, like you're a coat stand. Like, you can't do anything.
I want to call someone a coat stand. You're right. Coat stand.
And so basically Candy's like, you can't steal my life. And Paula's like, why? You weren't using it. So like, time for me to take a turn. And sure enough, like the cops show up and like beat Candy basically. Yeah.
And arrest her. And she's like, what are you idiots?
I'm Candy. That's the imposter. And then the cop, like one of the cops asked for a selfie with Paula. And
what did you say? He's like, I love you in that movie where you had the dildo sword fight in the chicken.
Yeah. And she's like, Jennifer Aniston is a good friend. I did like that line. That was pretty good.
That's pretty great. So then we get the complete flip here. So Candy is now at the bottom of the barrel. She's out. Paula's all in. She's completely taking over Steve.
The coat
taking over the house.
Has become the coat.
Yes, the coat stand has become. So then we cut to Lewis's house, and like, so his conversation. Yeah. Who is he talking to? I thought it was
like therapy or a sponsor or something.
Yeah, there was a sponsor, I thought.
Yeah. Way more interesting conversation. That was, again, I wanted this story. He's like, oh yeah, sobriety stinks. Like, I don't have the confidence I used to. And like, I don't know, like,
it's like kind of funny, but like, yeah.
Could have been interesting.
And then Paula calls and she's like, I want to do the reboot, the cameo, whatever, reboot cameo, stuff like this, right? And then the doorbell rings and it's Candy. And there's like kind of a funny moment between them, like, wait, you just talked to me on the phone? Yeah. And then Candy explains the situation. She's like, yeah, this is an imposter, blah, blah, blah.
Which, again, how did he not know? Like, they've been working together and like for years. And you're like, oh my God.
I think that's the point, right? Maybe that's the point. Like, no one cares.
Yes. Yeah.
And then he's got the line. He's like, so this imposter that's been showing up on time and bringing in money, that's not you? She's like, yeah. He's like,
yeah, she's nice. And
he's like, I'm sorry, I'm going with her. It's like, it's kind of funny.
Yeah. Because like you said, the whole premise of the movie is it doesn't matter that she's fake. The whole business is fake.
Right.
Everything's fake. My name's Fred Friedrich.
Yeah. Not Louis Friedrich. Yeah. And he just throws her out.
Yeah.
And then we cut to Steve's apartment, right?
Yep, exactly.
And Paula gives Steve the chair that Candy had made.
Yep, the one that she worked super hard on. And she's like, yeah, I used lots of glue. And he's like, what? Because again, why don't you ask more questions? Like,
yeah,
you don't use glue doing that. Like, no wonder he's outraged. Like, but he's like, something doesn't feel right.
Yeah, something feels weird between us. And then she's like, well, how about this? And they make out.
Yeah.
And then we get to like kind of a mini montage thing, right?
Yep.
We got Candy down, like she's kind of looking homeless in the subway and just
wrapped herself in a big blanket. She's just like sleeping on the train.
She walks through Times Square. No one's bothering her, so she feels a little free.
Just like in real life.
Yep. And an old couple. We got what's
that
her name?
Prosthetic nose.
Yeah. And she's
a lot of heavy lifting.
Right. And she's walking through Times Square, and this old couple asks for a photo, and she's like, no. And she's like, no, we want us. Take a photo of us.
Which this also allegedly happened when they put on the prosthetics and sent her out into Times Square. Yeah. Apparently someone recognized what's his face? Steve, what's the actor's name?
Michael Zegen.
Yeah. Somebody recognized him and they're like, oh my God, I love Mrs. Maisel. Like, can you have like Drew Barrymore take our picture? Like, not know, which I'm like, come on. I don't buy that.
Come on.
Yeah, why is this guy that is famous walking around with this person who is not famous that looks like Drew Barrymore?
Like what? And this is where we meet Tourist Harriet and the old Tourist Harriet there. They asked for a couple of them. So anyway, we cut back to Steve's apartment, right? And it looks like Paula and Steve have shacked up. They're waking up, right?
It does seem that way.
She basically just shits on his apartment and is like, this apartment sucks. That apartment's great, by the way. I'd live there.
Why stay in a shoebox when you can stay in a princess palace?
And she gives him a key to the mansion, basically.
Yeah, it's like so weird.
Why would you do this?
And then she's like, oh, by the way, there's a homeless woman who broke in the other day and looks a lot like me and had weird surgery to be like me. So like, if you see her snooping around, just call 911. And he doesn't question that. He's just like, oh my God, that's scary.
Again, just ask a couple questions.
What?
Like one or two. That's all.
And then the scene wraps with cutting back to Candy in walking around Manhattan, and she like walks over to a construction worker, ditches the blanket, and is like, "Hey, do you have any carpentry needs? I'm certified in blah blah blah, whatever. Yeah, carpentry, something or other." And then the woman construction supervisor's like, "Yeah, well, come back with your gear and your credentials tomorrow, and like, yeah, you can work here."
It'd be great to have another woman on the job. Like, okay.
What?
I don't know. I guess that's how that works.
This isn't how life works. Yeah.
Oh my God. So then we cut back to the bar, and this is
they're on a date.
Yeah, right? This is the first back to the bar where they first met, right? And this is Paula and Steve.
Yeah.
And Paula's just over the top, like taking selfies with strangers. With fans, and he's like, yeah, they didn't even ask for one. He's like, whatever. And she's just enjoying it like a bit too much, right? She's all in.
Yeah.
And then some dude recognizes Steve as the Holocaust piss baby guy.
Yep. Yeah. The Holocaust piss baby guy's dating Candy Black. That's crazy.
He's like, I can't take it. And he leaves. And then we're back at the mansion.
Yeah. With the paparazzi are there, and like Steve walks in and he's like, I just got to get some stuff. Like he's like not having a good time, obviously, at this point. And then, but he hears, a rustling, somebody rifling through stuff in the back room, which is Candy, as we know, because she's getting her construction gear.
Yep.
And he grabs the pepper spray that's like on the counter. Like, I was where this came from.
I was like, where did the pepper spray come from?
I don't know.
And he just sprays her in the face.
Yeah. And she's like, I'm Kathy. This is my house. I came here for tools and work clothes. Like, what's happening?
And he's like, wait a second. I know that voice.
Yeah. you sound like Kathy. And she's like, I am Kathy. You sound like Steve. And he's like, I am Steve. Well, I'm Larry, but also Steve.
And then Paula shows up.
Yep.
And this is where we get the back and forth about who is who and whatever. And she's like, I'm the real,
What was the box office on Clown Town? She's like, why would I know the box office of my own movies? Like
168 million, by the way.
That proves I'm the real one. What's happening?
So it's kind of like all unraveling for Paula a little bit here, right?
Yeah, exactly. And Candy's like, you know what? What would solve it? We'll have a woodwork showdown. And you're like,
it's like, what?
And then Candy talks about getting drugged by Paula, and Steve is looking horrified, and he's just like, "What's going on?" And Paula's like, "Get out of my house!"
Yeah.
Which then Candy leaves.
Candy. She just leaves with her tools. She's like, "I'm out of here," whatever, and she's like, walks out. And then Steve is like, "Yeah, I'm out of here too." And he's like, "I'm relieved that you're not Kathy, because
you're a black hole where a person should be."
Yeah, I was like, "That's a brutal. Jesus, that's brutal." I mean, she is pretty terrible, but
yeah. So then Steve goes out to the car, puts Candy in the passenger seat, and like it seems like things are going their way finally.
Yeah. And then Lewis calls, and we end that scene with him being like, the Saddle Up cameo is set to go.
Yeah. The sequel is always better than the original. Everyone knows that. Everyone's excited to be working with the new Candy. Because he knows now.
Now he knows.
He cares.
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever. She's bringing in money and gives a shit.
Yeah, but she has like a little frown now because she's realizing maybe this life of fame and fortune is not all it's cracked up to be.
Definitely isn't. And we cut to Steve's apartment. We got Kathy and Steve chatting away, right? And she's
chair
like,
chat. Yeah.
She gave you the chair.
Yeah.
He's like, it's the best gift. She's like, yeah, it wasn't a gift for you. I just made it.
Yeah. It looks like it could have come out of Shaker Society in the 1880s. And she's like, oh my God, that's the sweetest thing anyone's ever said to me.
It's kind of a quick scene. And then we like get the classic New York City overhead transition shot, right?
Yeah. More weird music. It's like if you have ever watched like a corporate like software company video where they're like, and now I'm launching a new feature, blah, blah, blah. And it's like got that like weird, like just generic, like bouncy music in the background.
It totally is. Yeah. Totally is. It's very strange. I don't know. Yeah. The music choices. Cause then like all the scenes with Candy, they lean into like this indie emotional, you know what I mean? Music. And it's like, oh, this is like kind of like I don't know. It's just like a drama now, but then they do goofy shit like that. It's like, just pick one and stick with it, you know?
Yep, exactly.
So then we're in a movie set, right?
Yep. We're at Paula's trailer, and the now sober Ingrid shows up again. Well, soberish probably.
So she like, again, like she's only in for like 2 lines, but she's got great lines. She's like, I'm sober. I'm great. I'm sober and great. You have any Vicodin? Or whatever she asked for it.
Yep.
She's like, is this a bad time? It's a bad time. And then we cut to like the actual set, and then Barbara and Paula are going over like the scene, and she's like, yeah, they're just gonna climb on this bale of hay and jump into the cow shit.
Yeah. And we've got a new stand-in named Sally, which I was like, oh my God, is that Drew Barrymore in a third role?
That would have been great.
It would have been, but it wasn't.
Yeah, she doesn't. Yeah,
she looks a little bit like her, but
she doesn't go full Eddie Murphy, and
that's what I was hoping for.
Yeah, right. Oh my God.
I want a Christmas with the Cranks or whatever. No, that's a different thing.
That's a different one. Nutty Professor.
You know what I'm talking about.
The Nutty Professor.
Yeah.
That's one.
Yeah. And so basically, Barbara's like, all you have to do is dive off the hay into the cow shit, and that's the joke. Like, just do that.
That's it.
And Paul's like, what's my motivation?
Just to land in the shit. That's it.
Yeah.
And then she just leaves. She just like leaves the set, right?
Yeah. She's like, I can't do it. And Barbara's like, oh, God damn it. Not again.
Then we cut to Steve's apartment, right? And he's kind of like, what are you going to do about Paula? And she's like, I don't think there's anything I can do about it. Like, the cops will come. They arrested me already. So it's like, what can I do?
You're just going to let her have your stuff? She's like, yeah, I don't know, whatever. I'm excited to play myself for a while, for a change.
Yeah. More drama stuff here, right? And then Paula shows up. She's like yelling her name outside of Steve's apartment, right?
Yep.
And this is like the scene from the trailer where she's like, I don't think I can do this. I can't do this movie. And she's like, you can do this. You can definitely jump into a pile of shit. And so this is where like this movie all of a sudden just like everything just goes away here. Like all the stakes here, because like she comes out and it's like they're friends all of a sudden. And
well, it's
Candy
not
gives
because the scene's too long.
It's too long, but like Candy's giving her advice and being like, yeah, you can definitely do this. You can do this thing. Like she's like trying to help her and like prop her up. And she's also like, she's like, yeah, you are an actress. You've been fooling everyone for like the months now.
No,
and I was like,
a coat stand.
But I was like, this is so weird. Like she literally took over your life, kind of like she called the cops on you. She beat you, threw you out of your own house. Like it kind of just fizzles all that stuff away.
Yeah.
Whatever. Candy gives her some tips and it's just like, yeah, you can do this. You're not just a stand-in. Yeah. You are Candy Black. You can do this, blah, 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 right?
Yeah. However,
this is for Steve. And she just punches her.
Yeah, right in the gut, which is pretty funny. And then like some like out of nowhere, like I don't know, like high school kids walk over, like, dude, it's Candy fucking Black. Let me get a quick selfie.
You can help me up.
Yeah,
tell me where it hurts or whatever.
Yeah, watch this. Well, that's what the kid says. He's like, watch this. Hit me where it hurts.
What's going on? So then we go back in set, and she's diving into shit, right?
Yep, delivering the line, and she's not doing a good job of it. So they're like, well, clean the shit off her face and do it again. And then we get a title card 1 year later. So Paula, in a super fancy gown, is in her mansion, walking down the stairs, looking super fancy, but also sad.
Yeah, Weasel dude from the beginning. He's there greeting her, right?
Yep. And there's paparazzi everywhere. And like, this is basically Candy's life from before. So she's like, realizing maybe she doesn't actually enjoy this that much.
She's completely taken over, right? And then we're like at this event outside city streets or whatever. They pull up in the car and she gets out and it's crazy paparazzi thing. She looks very sad, right?
Yep. And then,
not enjoying this. And then she snaps and hits a photographer.
From the trailer, which we thought was going to be the inciting incident for her getting whatever, but it's not. This is apparently the last 2 minutes of the movie. It's
just showing she's feeling the pains and pressure of being famous, and maybe this isn't what you want. So,
pain of being pure at heart.
We are totally ready for paparazzi, I think, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And then we cut to a furniture shop, and we got Steve and Kathy hanging out,
bringing her a cupcake. Happy birthday, because I guess they're treating this as her birthday now.
I guess so.
Her rebirth day, I guess.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I got all my wishes already, so I don't have anything to wish for.
This is it.
And then they just show like the furniture shop, and it looks very nice.
Yeah.
And she flips over the close sign to open.
And the camera pans down the street.
Kathy Tyler's homemade furniture.
Small town, Pleasant Hill, USA, right?
Yep, that's right.
And more indie music, and the end.
And somehow that's the end. Just exhausting hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah, it kind of was, right? All right, so how do we're gonna Jared and Russ ameliorate right now?
Yeah, I think so.
I'll go right off the off the bat here. You got to lean into one or the other. Like the trailer was throwing out comedy.
Yep.
There is no they tried for some comedy, but it wasn't landing. I
had a yuck or two, but not very much.
But they should have leaned more into like the dark comedy. Like this was this was a drama. This wasn't like a rom-com or anything like that. Like it's also noted as like a rom-com, but it's like, no, this is not a rom-com. This is like,
there's barely any romance. The romance that is there is like, this is creepy and weird.
This is like a dark take on being famous and not liking that life and paparazzi and like,
exactly.
It's a movie about the lifestyle, which I don't know.
Yeah, don't care for it.
It's fine, but like lean into it.
Yeah. Write jokes. Write dark jokes if you want, but like put jokes in the movie, please.
Yeah. Also, like I don't like who you supposed to like. I guess you're supposed to like Kathy and like her. You're rooting for her to like get away from this and have her little place. But at the same time, like you completely blow out the Paula thing and like I guess she ends up losing. Right? She realizes like this sucks, but
but also like she doesn't really get like comeuppance other than like paparazzi. I mean, like presumably after she assaults the paparazzi, like there's going to be, I don't know.
It's a whole new decline of
Yeah, we get to watch Candy decline again. Which,
I don't know.
Like, when does this all fall apart in terms of like they have their different identities? Like
Yeah.
Like, like Paula's doing Paula's taxes, right? Like taxes are how we started this movie. Like
right.
they have this, different social security numbers. Like somebody's going to catch on at some point, right? Like
I guess they've covered that. The taxes are paid off, right? That's done.
I guess
with all the appearances.
Well, but like new taxes, like because she's just assuming Candy's life now, and like
right, yeah, right,
right, like
yeah, like
how does that work? Like Pleasant Hill, I think, is in the United States, so like they didn't move that far. Like she's still paying taxes.
Good old Kentucky.
Yeah, baffling. Do away with all the celebrity cameos, unnecessary. Just
those felt like just like we don't the Lena Dunham scene, even the Richard Kind thing. It was like.
Yeah,
it was like they were looking for like those are like the funny moments, but they weren't funny in terms of like applying to like the rest of the story of the plot or whatever. Like
exactly,
like make it funny, but make it important to what's going on, not just like a one-off. Like which kind of feels like it's all TV and it's all TV folks doing this, so that's what it felt like. It felt like this is like a episode, and they're just like let's throw in someone here and just do like a quick joke and then move on.
Yep, that's exactly what it felt like. Like this could have been, I don't know, like I would have watched this. It might have been better if it was like a short TV series, like an 8-episode TV series. Give me like 8 30-minute episodes.
One season and call it, right? But
yeah. Make it a mini series.
I like the concept and the plot of like, the someone taking over someone else's identity. I mean, that's a classic. That's a classic storyline. Mm-hmm. I'm all about it. I'm fine with you commentary about paparazzi and being famous.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. They suck. They're terrible.
Super easy. Like give me beef. Like I would have loved that.
Ooh, I didn't see that. Is that good?
You haven't watched that yet?
No.
Oh, dude, it's so good with Ali Wong and Steven Yeun.
Yeah.
Like great, like 8-episode, whatever. Like it's like this. Like it's a dark comedy.
Yeah.
And like lean into it. Like that's what this should have been instead.
Yeah. On the positive side, I will say Drew Barrymore. I thought she was great.
She's always great, right?
And like in doing the split roles, I mean, like they definitely felt like two separate characters. Like so, I thought she did great in it, but everything else around was just kind of flop.
Yeah, the rest of the movie, cut that.
Garbanzo beans. All right, well, I think that's it, right? We're done. We're done here.
I think so. Wrap her up.
All
Put a bow on it.
Thanks everyone for listening. We'll be back next week with a new movie. Meantime, you can follow us on Instagram at It's This Meets That, right? ITMT Pod on Twitter. Subscribe wherever you're listening and share it with friends.
Share it with friends. Share it with enemies. And strangers. Write a review. Say something nice. Maybe other people will see that and be like, "Wow, I should really listen to that podcast."
Yeah,
it's the enemy. It's great.
Yeah, the enemy of our enemy is the enemy of our podcast. Enemy of the pod.
That's right.
Yeah,
friend of the pod.
Yeah.
The enemy of my enemy is a friend of the pod.
That's right.
I believe
I think it's a double negative, so it becomes a friend of the pod. Right.
Exactly. So you could do that, or if you're feeling old fashioned, you could send us an email. Tell us about double negatives and how you would have fixed this movie. I don't know, something crazy. Send us a novel. Like we solicit novels a lot.
We do. Yeah. I mean, whatever. Send it. We'll steal it and then make it our own. Yeah.
Exactly. Or go to the website and you can learn about Russ's upcoming novel or lots of other stuff. It's thismeetsthat.com and all the old episodes, whatever you want. It's all there. The website.
Check it out. It's there for the taking.
Internet.